Everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about managing freakouts over your weight. And these are going to happen. So you need to have a strategy ahead of time for how you're going to deal with them. Because the worst thing you can do is to just expect that you're just going to handle them in the moment, because you're not. Because as soon as you start freaking out about your weight in whatever way that gets triggered, you go into panic mode, you go into freak out mode. And in freak out mode, you're not thinking creatively, you're not thinking clearly. And so we don't want to wait till that moment to try and come up with some great strategy. It's not going to work. So what we need to do is ahead of time, think about, how am I going to deal with it? They're going to be freakouts. Okay. And I think that's the first step in managing freakouts, is to realize they're coming. Because I think a lot of dieters are under the crazy idea that they are going to start their plan on day one and they're going to just ride a wave of success all the way until they reach their goal weight. And it's so crazy because you've done so many diets where that hasn't been the case, but you never really adjust your strategy. And this is one of the most important parts of adjusting your strategy you've got to do, is what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you step on the scale? You've been eating well for a week, 2 weeks, a month, a couple months, God forbid, and the weight's not moving. But what are you going to do? How are you going to deal with that? What are you going to say to yourself? How are you going to think about it? And you probably have no answer to that question, which is why every time you freak out, you pretty much just quit, because you have no strategy for how to deal with it. So we got to prepare ourselves. And how do we prepare ourselves? So the first step is recognize you need to prepare yourself. And the second part is, well, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? When you step on the scale and it's not what you want, or you get triggered any number of ways, you see a picture of yourself, oh my God, I'm so big, or whatever it is that kind of gets you freaking out, we want to start to come up with strategies for how we're going to deal with that. And what I would suggest is that the first part of it is that you relax. Okay. You don't say nothing you're going to think or say to yourself, but just physically relax your shoulders, relax your chest, your stomach, your face, take a deep breath. Ground yourself. Okay. When we freak out, we really kind of like get really tense, and that creates all this psychology that really affects us negatively. So the first one to do when we start freaking out is just relax your body. That's the first step, because as soon as you relax your body, what happens is you allow the blood to go back up into your brain so that you can start thinking more clearly. So the first part of the dealing with the freak out is to calm down and relax. The second part is, what am I going to say to myself? How do I want to deal with this? When I step on the scale and it hasn't moved, what do I want to say? Now, every person has to say something a little different because we're all unique, but some of the things I'd suggest are, that's okay. I've made lots of changes in my behavior, and I know that I can keep them up, and I can adjust things so that I know that I can get the results I want. And I've already made a lot of changes. This is again, if you've made changes and you step on the scale and it hasn't moved, that might be something you can say. You see a picture of yourself, you're not happy with it. That's okay. I can refocus. Let me get motivated. Let me use this feeling I have right now and let me turn it into motivation. How can I use this feeling to move me in the direction I want to go in? And so the strategy becomes, now you may have specific things you can say to yourself if it's a consistent source of freaking out, or if you just spontaneously freak out, again, okay, I'm going to relax. And now the question becomes, where do I want to go from here? How do I want to handle this? Right? What do I want to do with this feeling? Because I don't like it. So how can I have less of this in the future? And so what we do is we regain control, because that's what's happening is you're losing control. You're freaking out and you're just quitting, because quitting is the best way for you to stop freaking out. Right? You say, I've been doing so great for 2 weeks and I haven't lost any weight, and you're freaking out so much. The best way to get out of that pain is just stop thinking about it. But that's not going to get you the results you want. So we need to regain control. And it begins by relaxing your body and then taking control of your mind and beginning to ask solution-oriented questions. Where do I want to go from here? I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with this scale. I'm not happy with the picture. I'm not happy with whatever it is that caused the freak out. Where do I want to go from here? And the more you ask that question and think about those solutions, the more strategies you kind of uncover and reveal to yourself, and the more in control you feel. Even when you feel shitty, even when you're not happy with the result, you can still feel in control by using this strategy. So I hope this helps you out. And if you have no idea how to relax yourself and how to think this way, click the link in my bio, get the hypnosis session, watch the free video I gave you, and read the free emails I send you. And I hope they help you out. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask them. Excuse me, I'll cough. I had a cough going on there the whole last minute of that little talking thing there. So hope everyone's having a nice day. Where are we at? I don't even know what day it is. Wednesday. Wednesdays. Everyone's not freaking out there. But if you're freaking out, that's okay too. Freaking out's part of the journey. You know what I mean? So what's up, Linda? Linda says you're on early. Yay, I can finally hear you. I've missed your lives. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, I am on. Technically, it's not even early. It's just I've been kind of late lately. Today I actually had to get on early because I got to get out of here early to go do something. But I know I keep working to get on here at noon. To be honest, I'm still getting myself back to where I was at before my surgery, which to me is an important point. Let me just talk about that for a second. You know, when so I got shoulder surgery and then I was really out of commission for about a week, you know, and so my eating got a little wonky. Certainly I stepped away from work, you know, and I accept that. And I acknowledge that, but I also realized that, okay, a week completely took off. Now I got to get myself back on track with things. Right now, some things are easy to get back on track with because my eating is easier to get back on track with because I've mastered it. You know, I've been doing the eating thing for a long time. Some of the work things I've been doing, on the other hand, are kind of newer. And so it's taking me a little bit longer to kind of get myself back to my normal schedule. And so I say this to you because this is going to show up in your weight loss, that you'll make changes in what you're doing with your eating, wherever you may make changes. And then something might come up and it might kind of knock you off track a little bit. And then it might take you a little bit of time to get yourself back on track, back to where you were at. That's normal. Okay. It's not a big deal. Again, you know, this always comes back to kind of the same story, just said in a different way. We need to give ourselves more time. You know, I think the biggest challenge most dieters make is they don't give themselves any real legitimate amount of time to change their behaviors. And, you know, change takes time. So anyways, I saw someone ask something. What's up, Katie? How you doing? It was great meeting you yesterday. Welcome to the program again, officially. B Sweet says, man, I'm fat as hell. This is bad. Well, that's not a lot of detail, but yeah, there you go. But that's how we feel sometimes, you know, but that's a good example. You know, a lot of people walking around, you're unhappy with your weight and you just kind of say these same mantras. Like, oh man, I'm fat. Man, I'm fat. I feel like shit. Oh man, I'm fat. We think in mantras. We just kind of loop through the same thoughts, you see? And if we're going to create change, certainly with our weight, we've got to change our thoughts. And so one of the easiest ways to change your thoughts is to start asking better questions, start getting more detailed. You know, I don't want to just say, oh, I'm fat. Oh, I feel like shit. I don't want to just keep saying that. You know, there's no way out of there, right? It's a forever rotary or roundabout, whatever we call them. There's no traffic circles, right? They drive around. It's like a forever roundabout that you can't get off. Okay. Get off of it. Okay, man, I'm fat and I feel terrible. Okay, fine. That's your starting point. How do you want to feel? What do you want to do now? You know, as quickly as I can, I want to bring it back to action, because if we keep cycling through how shitty we feel, it becomes very paralyzing and we can get stuck in there, you know? So as quick as you can, start turning it into, well, what would you like to do? You can lose weight. You know, would you like to lose weight? Would you want to change? Because you always, I'm fat as hell and I feel like shit. And you just say that constantly. You say, okay, well, the first one, would you like to change that? You know, and that may sound crazy, but again, you've got to change how you're thinking. You got to change the questions you're asking, the things you're thinking about consistently in order to change the results you're getting. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Because saying things like that makes you feel bad, and it doesn't help you in any way identify the problem or ever obviously define a solution. Bumsy Plush, thank you for the hearts. Appreciate that. Christina says, can you describe how thin people think about food? Are they always intentionally being disciplined? Well, listen, hey, I would never sit here and pretend to know how every thin person thinks about food. Okay. I couldn't do that, because obviously thin people think differently about food, I'm going to guess. Okay. But what I will say is I am absolutely a master of helping people that used to be overweight think like thin people. And does that mean they're being disciplined? Well, discipline's kind of a funny word. Okay. And I like it. I like discipline more than willpower. Okay. Because I'm going to give you a weird analogy. I don't even know if this makes sense. I'm going to throw it out there though. But I think of like willpower is like you got to push a car. Okay. And you're pushing the car, but not only are you pushing the car, but you got to steer the car. Right. So you got two things you got to do. And I think of discipline as being a level better, because it's like pushing a train. Now I know, stick with me for a second. imagine the train's the same size as the car though. Okay. But the difference is the train's on tracks. So you don't need to steer the train. You just need to push it, give it some forward momentum. So I think of willpower. That's what dieters always rely on. They just think, okay, day one, I'm just going to change everything intentionally. I'm just going to force everything to go. You got no strategies. You got no plan really. You got no, habits to draw upon. You're just going to change everything and focus on everything and change it all. Whereas I think discipline, what happens is you start to integrate and install habits, routines, thought patterns, ways of behaving with food. And then you're pushing them forward, sometimes with willpower, sometimes just through automatic behaviors. So that being said, I think that oftentimes, excuse me, thin people have more psychological strategy of how to think about food, of how to structure their eating, than people struggling with their weight. So is there a willpower aspect, a discipline aspect to it? For sure. But I think there's more under the surface, that they think very differently in a lot of ways about food, about their health, about their weight, about their lifestyle, all of these things. So that's what I see more. Now, again, it's very important in my mind to make the distinction between a dieter and someone who's living as a thin person for a long period of time. Because dieters, again, are just fighting against themselves, forcing themselves to act differently. I'm talking about people that genuinely have internalized how to be a thin and healthy person and have remained as such for years and years and years. And what you start to realize when you talk to them is that they've made a lot of shifts in how they think about stuff. So it's not so much discipline. So let me bring it into a simpler explanation, that if you're listening to this, you're probably a non-smoker. And if you're a non-smoker, it's not because you use willpower to fight against cigarette cravings all day long. You're a non-smoker because the way you think about cigarettes, you don't have cravings for cigarettes, right? The way you think about cigarettes, you think they're gross or disgusting, or at the very least, you're just indifferent to them. And so you don't have to worry about cigarettes. They're just not part of your normal reality. And so for a lot of thin, healthy people, what happens is they start to create a paradigm that they live in terms of food and lifestyle and other factors that is focused on the things that keep them thin and healthy, you see? And so it's not so much about where you think a dieter, everything's focused on the foods that make them overweight and them stopping doing that, you see? And so that's just an example of what I mean. So I think, again, when it comes to thin people thinking about food, let me throw you a couple bones though too, because I'm being very theoretical with you. But so what are some specific ways that sometimes thin people may think? And again, thin people think differently, but here's a couple. One of them is that nothing tastes as good as thin and healthy feels. So a lot of thin, healthy people are really oriented to the idea that, yeah, food can taste good, but it's a momentary pleasure. And that living as a thin, healthy person is way more enjoyable, way more pleasurable. Another one might be that, when I think about food, 80% of the foods that I choose, it's really about fueling my body. And 20% of it I dedicate to, it's more fun based. So there's another way that they may think. And I could go on and on. That's what Program Yourself Thin is. Program Yourself Thin is literally 65 of these mantras, 65 ways that I've seen thin and healthy people think about food that overweight people don't. And so that's literally the program, where I give you 65 hypnosis. They're 5-minute daily sessions, and there's 8 10-minute weekly sessions with the core weight loss mantras in it. But they literally install into your mind how thin and healthy people think about food, themselves, health, lifestyle, all the rest of it. So hope that helps out. It's hard to answer those questions because it's not just a simple answer, right? Because different people think differently about it. So, but it certainly goes past discipline and willpower. That's for sure. D says, with the blueprint, is it just trial and error figuring out what keeps you full? Yes, D. Yes. That's exactly what it is. Yes. So glad you said it. Let's just put it out on the table. The eating blueprint is absolutely trial and error. And I don't give a shit. I know, no, of course you don't want that. Of course you just want me to tell you, no, this is what's going to work for you. But how could I ever know that? You know what I mean? No one on the planet could tell you what foods are going to make you feel satisfied. No one on the planet can tell you what foods you enjoy enough, what foods you find easy enough to prepare regularly. No one could tell you that. So I know it's annoying to do the trial and error thing and think about stuff. This is why I say, Program Yourself Thin Mastery, the mastery program is not for everyone. Absolutely not, because you've got to be willing to kind of put some effort in and think. And as Ben Franklin said, the hardest work in the world is thinking. That's why so few people do it. So I know it's frustrating because get every diet out there is telling you just do this. And so you don't have to think about what you're going to eat. You just follow the plan they told you to do. But that means by definition, it's not built for you. It's not a plan that's made for you. And so the chances of some just random plan working perfectly for you are almost zero. So yeah, we got to kind of like interface with things. We try something. We try something. Oh, I'm gonna eat this for breakfast. Let me see. It's like, oh, I'm hungry an hour later. Okay, I'll remember that. I ate something. Let me try something different. Try this. Oh, wow, it's actually pretty satisfying until lunchtime. Great. But the thing to remember too, D, is that you really only have to go through this process once. Because once you go through this, you'll have, and again, it depends how much variety you need, but you'll have a couple different breakfast options. And, like I have a number of breakfast options. They're all in the same calorie range, but they're just different. Now, again, my superpower is I can eat the same thing every day and I don't care. But if I get tired of it, I got backup plans. You see, so that's where you're going to be, D. Once you it is annoying work, right? But it's like once you have it, you're going to have the breakfast options for your clean days and for your pleasure days. You're going to have the lunch options for your clean pleasure days. And you're going to know what foods you like, what are easy to make, and most importantly, which ones fill you up, and help you achieve your weight goals. And once you have that, you got that. You'll be able to rely on those foods for the rest of your life. Right? You'll always tweak and optimize them to some degree, but you'll always have the core of those foods, and you'll know that they're custom made for you. They're foods you like, easy to prepare, and again, fill you up and help you get to your goal weight. So that's a great question. Fumsy Plush says, whoops, just missed that question. Hold on. Why some people eat a lot of food but don't get fat and others eat little then blow up? It's not fair. Yeah, I know, but most of the time that's not the case. I mean, more often than not, what's going on is that thinner people just eat less food most of the time. Are there genetic factors that contribute to that? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's figuring out what works for you. And comparison is the thief of joy. So I would stop thinking about other people. Who gives a shit what their experience is? I really would want to focus on my situation and where I want to be. All right. So, but I get it, right? But no matter what you're doing in life, I don't care what it is, weight loss, musical instruments, business, school, anything in life, as soon as you start comparing yourself to other people, you're going to feel like shit and it's going to discourage you, and it takes attention away from where it matters most, which is you. All that matters is you, Fumsy. How is it for you? Who gives a shit what other people can do? Who cares? You're not them. So any extra energy, any attention and energy you put into them and focusing on that is energy you're not putting into yourself. So a satisfying thing, but that's what I think. Yeah, Christina says cigarette analogy, super helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, that is a good analogy, isn't it? But Christina, make sure you go to my bio and click the link, get the hypnosis session and watch the video I made. Okay. It's all free. And it'll give you a bit more detail what I'm talking about. So if you thought that was interesting, there's just a whole video full of stuff like that. Pokeful says, eating is social, how to balance both. Yeah, I mean, again, everyone's got a different situation, so eating's probably not always social, right? I mean, I'm assuming unless you're a really, really social person or in college or something. But usually there's social eating and there's kind of private eating. And so how do you balance those both? But even if you're socially eating all the time, then that means you can't just be social eating in party mode all the time. That can't exist, because eventually it just normalizes and that's your norm. And so, I think you need to identify what are the social fun times for me and what are the fuel times, and so where's the most, I don't know, I'm just going to make something up here, but let's just say on Friday night, you have a standing, social engagement where you go dancing and eat dinner, right? And you love that and you love what you eat and you love dancing. And so we compare that to like, I don't know. And I'm going to go to the craziest scenario where you're in college and you eat meal with other people all the time. That's not really social though, either though. At that point, people should be fine with whatever you're choosing. It's not the same energy. But anyways, so those two events are not the same, right? The going out dancing and eating dinner with your friends and all the rest of it is a peak experience. Eating the breakfast is not. Okay. It's just a normalized thing you do every day. So you need to start making the distinction between what truly are really pleasurable experiences socially and what are kind of just normalized things I do regularly. That's the first step. And then I would leave the pleasure outlier things alone. I wouldn't touch those for now. Again, dieters make this crazy mistake where they think they need to change absolutely everything all at once. But I would not suggest that. I would keep the most pleasurable social eating meals I have. I would keep those the same, and I would work to optimize the ones that aren't really that social or pleasurable. And I would start there, and then I would work on improving everything ultimately eventually, but I would start with that first thing. Because what dieters are so crazy. You dieters are the craziest people. And I say that with love, but it's just talk about a horseshit strategy. I mean, there's just nothing dumber than the diet strategy to lose weight in my mind, long term, But the idea that you're going to change all, your most enjoyable parts of the week, you're just going to get rid of. It's like you ain't going to stick with that. So, and there's no need to do that. So, anyways, Pink Clouds, do you believe that overweight women are emotional eaters because of being a nice girl? Let me think about that. Do you believe that overweight women are emotional eaters because of being a nice girl? I don't like, I never think like there's one size fits all. So I don't believe that overweight women are emotional eaters. Well, technically I do, because I technically think that anyone who's struggling with their weight, at the end of the day, it's an emotional eating issue, right? Because the alternative to be emotional eating is that you're just eating for nourishment. And I believe that if you only ate to nourish your body, then stopped, then you'd be at your natural weight. So I guess technically, I do kind of think that emotional eating is really the core challenge here. Okay. That being said, I don't think it's just for women. I think men emotionally eat just as much as women do. So I don't think that there's a gender difference there. Because of being a nice girl, I'm not really sure what that means, so I can't really answer that. But because of childhood trauma and being a nice girl who seeks approval from parents. Okay, there's a little more detail. Yeah, okay, but I don't. Again, I don't think it's a gendered thing, because I think I've worked with men and women. It's always the same thing. Yes, I do think childhood experiences absolutely contribute to adult weight issues. No question about it. So for you particularly, you might have been a person who was, a people pleaser, constantly seeking approval from other people. And now that might show up with your reading that, if you're with other people, you feel compelled to eat everything in order to, please them, because that's what you think they want. Right. So regardless of the specifics of it, I think the process is the same for everyone, because I think everyone has to use the same process to identify kind of what are the factors that are causing you to overeat. And a lot of times they do stem from childhood and are showing up, now in adulthood as well. But the specifics are always different. You know what I mean? But the process is the same, which is that we really diagnose and understand what's going on with me. Why do I eat this way? How am I getting myself to overeat consistently? And you may realize, oh, I was raised this way to always just do what I was told. Right. And now I live, with my partner, and he, he cooks and he expects me to eat everything, and I do it. So again, it shows up specifically different for every person, but the process is the same. And so once you realize that, you say, oh my God, here I am, an adult woman, and I'm still acting like I'm a little girl. Very common. Same with guys, right? Guys, adult men acting like little boys. A lot of us do this because we learned something in childhood and we just keep doing it all the way through adulthood. So much of change, in my opinion, is really recognizing that process. What dumb shit from the past that we learned for no good reason are we continuing now into adulthood? And, recognizing where it came from can be helpful, not absolutely necessary. But the main point is, what do I want to do now? How do I want to behave now? Now I'm a full grown woman and I don't want to seek the approval of everyone. Great. Okay. And that becomes the process. It's not just about losing weight, though. It's much deeper than that. It's about being a person who says, I feel comfortable, content in myself as I am. I don't need the approval of people anymore. I'm not a little girl anymore. I'm my own adult person who's self-sufficient and happy with myself, And so I'm just giving you an example of how that could show up and what a solution could look like. Now, implementing that solution is a process in of itself as well, but now it's a much more robust process than having that issue and never dealing with it, and then just trying another diet to just force yourself to act right, but never dealing with that core problem. So I think this is a good example that there's always core problems. Your weight is a symptom of a deeper problem. I truly believe that. And I think that recognizing what some of the deeper problems are, and sometimes they're emotional, stem from childhood. Sometimes they're just bad habits we picked up along the way. Sometimes it's just a change of situation that happened to us in adulthood and now we act different. So again, it can show up in a lot of different ways, but we want to recognize the deeper problems and solve them at the source. What most dieters are doing, they never deal with any of the deeper problems, and they just try and use willpower to suppress it and fight against it. And I don't see that as a very good strategy. So regardless of where it came from, I think that the process is the same of kind of understanding yourself and evolving yourself. You know what I mean? Evolving yourself into an adult and a person who wants to act, the way that you want to act, because you are an adult now. Again, if you're watching this, hopefully. Big Clouds, I'm watching from Dubai. All right, well, Dubai, that's pretty cool. I know it's crazy. It never ceases to amaze me that like people from all over the world watching this. It's so funny. So that's pretty cool. So I hope it's doing well in Dubai. I just saw a picture of Dubai. It was so crazy. I think it was 30-year difference, and it was like, they showed like the first, they showed like one building, and it looked like a big building in the first picture, like 30 years ago. It was like one big building, and then they showed it there like today, and the building looks like a shed, and it's like the buildup was crazy. I couldn't believe it. So that's a cool picture. If anyone's interested, go check out Dubai, 30 years plus and minus. JK says, how much daily water is a good daily amount for a 180-pound male? I'll give you a rule of thumb. And again, it's just best practice. It's just rule of thumb. It may or may not be the right amount for you, but rule of thumb, that I hear and I kind of go by is that half your body weight in ounces is a good place to kind of aim at. Then test it out. I did that for a long time. And I would say that I now do probably a third of my body weight in ounces, is probably where I'm at more often than not. Because that much water, I didn't really notice much of a benefit between drinking that much water and drinking what I drink now. So I'm kind of there. But so what I say though, is if, you can start that as a rule of thumb, half my body weight in ounces. And it depends on where you're starting from though. If you drink no water, like I used to do, you don't want to just start with half your body weight in ounces. That's overwhelming. Okay. So start with maybe, a quarter of your body weight in ounces, and see how that goes. And then ramp it up and then see how it feels, and then kind of figure out what feels best for you. Because it's not just about the water in your body and what it does. It's also about drinking the water. And if drinking half your body weight in ounces is stressful and hard for you to do, then it's probably not worth it. Okay. So we need to look at both sides of the equation. It's not just like, the perfect amount. It's also how it feels to drink that much. So of course that depends on where you're at with your water. You might already drink a quarter of your body weight in ounces. Hey, crank it up to half and see how you feel, and then adjust accordingly. Pink Cloud says, regardless of where it came from, the process is all the same. Thank you so much for answering. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 30 days of difference, I bet. Yeah, Dubai is crazy. Dubai, it's crazy. It's mind-blowing. It's funny because it reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures of Manhattan, and they'll show Manhattan, but that's like, I don't know, 200 years, say. And they show Manhattan. It's just like, looks like the marshes of the Cape or something. I don't, it's nothing there. And it's crazy to see. It just blows your mind. But Dubai is like that. And it's 30 years. It's crazy, the time frame and what they've built up. It really blows your mind. So it's an interesting thing to look at if you're just into things like that. So anyways. Oh yeah, you meant 30 years. Okay. Yeah, very good. I don't even know in Dubai. I mean, you can say 30 days and they might just completely build up cities in 30 days for all I know, because it's faster than anything my brain can comprehend. So anyways, but yeah, I hope you're all having a good day. I don't know if any questions. I got a few more minutes here before I can get out of here. Hope everyone's doing good with the Halloween too. I know Halloween's coming up. If you're not on my email list, I would suggest getting on it. I got an email, or I got a hypnosis session coming for you all. I got it ready. It's there to go. I just have to put it up and send it out, but I'm sending that out as a kind of a apology for sending out login information for everyone on my email list. Again, I apologize for that, but I'm going to send out a free session for you. And the session is, candy is sugar. And I like that session. Someone wrote to me the other day. They're like, no shit, Jim. But I know you know it's sugar, but you don't internalize it. So there's a difference between knowing candy is sugar and really internalizing it as such and thinking about candy as being, you know, literally a pile of sugar. And when you think of it that way, it does make a difference. So anyways, that session will be available to you. It's already available to people at the Program Yourself Think Club and Thrive program, but that'll be going out to everyone. So get on my list. All right. It's free. What's up? Claudia Clyde says, hey, Jim, about the awareness. Am I supposed to fill how I used to eat 4 to 5 months ago? No, do not do that. There's no need to do that. Listen, here's the thing, right? So Claudia's in the program. I'm just talking about the eating blueprint. And the first part of eating blueprint is really gaining awareness of what you eat. And so, no, I want to know how you typically eat now. Okay. So it's like, if you've made a shift in your eating over the last 4 or 5 months, well, that's plenty of time. Okay. Now, if you made a shift last week, you know, okay, I want to know what you ate before that, kind of. But because what we're looking to do, Clyde, is we're looking to build on your habitual eating patterns, right? Program Yourself Thin. And now we're talking about the mastery version of it. We're talking about my goal for you with that program is to help you live at your goal weight for the rest of your life on near autopilot. So in order to live at your goal weight on near autopilot, we've got to build around your habits, build around your routines. This is your subconscious mind handles this. And so in order to build around your routines, we got to know what your current routines are. Because again, dieting is such a stupid ass way to go about it, because you're just instantly saying, I'm just going to completely change everything I do, which is another way to say that I'm going to completely micromanage and focus and make every good decision every moment of the day. You're not for long anyways. And so the alternative, what I'm talking about, what we're doing in the program, is recognizing, what do I already consistently do? Everyone has eating patterns. You're not eating completely different every week of the month. You're not. You may think, oh, I'm always eating different shit. No, you're not. Oh, no, Jim, I travel. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Then you travel and you go to the same restaurants and the same stores and you have the same routines, the same hotel food. There's always patterns with how we eat. No one is constantly eating something new. Even if you're always eating something new, that's a pattern, because it's hard to do. And so we all have patterns with our eating. So what we want to do is we want to recognize the patterns initially, and then we want to start building on those, because the patterns run automatically. So we're looking to recognize what the patterns are and then optimize them. So for you, Claudia, I don't want to know what you ate 4 or 5 months ago. I don't give a shit about that. I care about how you ate. Now, again, you got to, if you made a drastic change in your diet, then that's an outlier experience, and let me know. But if you've been eating consistently differently for the last 4 or 5 months, that's what I want to know. How'd you eat last week, the week before? That's the stuff I want to know. And that's what we build around. So I hope that answers the question for you. What's up, Kelly? Kelly says, even though I'm sure you're right, the thought of someone thinking I must have emotional problems because I'm overweight feels yucky. Maybe that's just one of my problems. Well, yeah, no, I get that. I hear you, Kelly. Let me talk about that a little bit more, because I definitely do not mean that. I definitely do not mean you have emotional problems. I want to make that crystal clear. I don't equate emotional eating with emotional problems. I just want to make that clear. What I mean is that the emotional eating is your main strategy to deal with your emotions. Maybe that's one and the same. I don't think of them as the same thing. But I think of, because let's face it, I mean, if you're struggling with your weight, are there outlier situations? There might be some, but I mean, this is kind of the main thing. Let's be honest. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Like the eating, if you think about the issues with the weight, it's almost always because you're eating things that you know you shouldn't eat, or it's the things causing the weight issue. And so why are you doing it? Right? At the end of the day, let's just be honest. I mean, if you're struggling with your weight, most people that are overweight know what they should and shouldn't eat. They know they shouldn't eat the ice cream, or they shouldn't eat the extra helping, or they have a good sense of what they shouldn't do to lose the weight. Okay, let's just start there. So why are you doing it? Right? There's no logical reason, because you want to lose weight and you know that's causing you to be overweight. So why would you do it? There's no logical reason, not a conscious logical reason. There's a subconscious logical reason, and it's that eating that food gives you some sort of emotional fulfillment. It's not really fulfilling. That's the other thing. So there's kind of two types of emotional eating. The main type of emotional eating is that you've got some negative emotional thing you're dealing with, and the eating becomes a very, very effective way to at least distract yourself from it. So you're feeling depressed. Well, if I start eating, I turn away from the things making me depressed and I focus on the food. So I feel better, at least while I'm eating. I'm angry, I'm pissed off, whatever negative emotion, the eating is a great way to kind of distract yourself from it and feel a little bit better for a moment. So I kind of boil things down to a lot of that. The other side of the emotional eating is that you're eating for pleasure, right? So you're celebrating something, or, oh, it's my birthday, so I'm going to eat whatever I want, and we kind of do that. And so both of those things, again, emotional eating for me is a very clear cut distinction. If you're not eating with the main intention of nourishing your body, there's an emotional component to it. And there is a blurry line here, no question about it, between, emotions and nourishment. It's always a bit of a blur, especially in America here in 2024. So I'm crystal clear, not making it about, I don't think that over people have emotional problems. I think that they're using food as an emotional management strategy, and so hope that makes sense. Because I can see how that would feel shitty. And I don't believe that. Claire says, because I've been eating better this couple of months, but I catch myself being a dieter still. Yeah, that's okay. Again, what I'm looking for, Claudia, is I'm looking for the normal eating that you've got, the things that are kind of automatic and natural. Okay. And so there might be some old habits still kind of there. There might be new things you're doing, but I'd want to build around the healthy eating you're doing now, right? If you're able to eat relatively comfortably, I want you to become aware of that. I want you to build around those plans. All right. And, then we'll optimize those. But you're always going to catch yourself being a dieter too. Understand that. Listen, folks, you're never not going to be a dieter sometimes. Like, again, you can't get rid of that wiring. Sometimes you're going to go and just be a dieter. And so I think it's really important to recognize that's going to happen forever. The secret is not to get caught up in it as long, to be aware of it, to shift it as quick as you can. Okay. But there's never a reality where you just never think like a dieter or have shitty thoughts or take a step back, or that's never going to happen in your life. All right. We got to recognize that. Letty says, I'm a candy lover. All right. Well, I'm a thin and healthy body lover. So different loves get you different results. Yeah. Pink Cloud says, for me, eating is soothing and relaxing. I get it. And I think that's the important piece of this. So much of Program Yourself Thin is, this is how I define addictions. I think of addictions as the thing that's causing you the most pain in your life, but you think it's really pleasurable, right? The thing that's causing you the most pain, or one of the things that's causing you the most pain in your life that you think is one of the most pleasurable. And so, in the moment, now again, it depends on your situation. I'll make this crystal clear. But if you're a person who has been struggling and fighting with your weight and feeling like shit about yourself and mad at yourself and unhappy, thanks, Rebecca. If you're one of these people who's been fighting against yourself and feel like shit about it for decades, and then you come and say to me, oh no, Jim, for me, eating soothing and relaxing. Is it? Is it? If we zoom out and look at the last 25 years and in the consistent emotions and thoughts you tend to have, is it soothing and relaxing overall, or is it soothing and relaxing those little moments while you're eating, and then it turns into instant pain? Now, I can't speak for you, Pink Clouds. I don't know what your weight issue is, but if you're someone who's really genuinely been fixated on weight and it really bothers you and upsets you and makes you feel like shit about yourself, and it's a real downer, then we cannot say that eating is soothing and relaxing, because we can't just look at eating. That's like saying going on shopping sprees really calms my spirit. Well, yeah, the shopping part. What about when you get the bill? What happens when you got no money for anything else? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't just look at a thing. Oh, doing hard drugs is really exciting and fun for me. Is it? I mean, it might be while you're on them and you're doing that, but what about the consequences? And it's very interesting with food. And we've been conditioned very systematically in this culture to just focus on the eating of food and to not focus on the consequences that follow. But as soon as you do, because am I crazy? Am I a crazy person to say, hey, let's look at the full picture? Maybe I am, but it's like, I'm not just going to define eating as just that moment when the food's in my mouth. I'm going to define it as the consequences as well. And so if I get 5 minutes of enjoyment from food, and then I get hours of pain from being overweight and unhappy with myself for what I did, well, am I just going to ignore the hours? So to me, this is a crucial part of the process of really starting to see things more accurately. And I think when you start to see things more accurately, you set yourself up for much more success, because if you're trying to lose weight, like a dieter does. It's like, oh, eating for me is soothing and relaxing. It's the most relaxing part of my day. And now I'm going to try and lose weight, because what subconsciously with that, what you're saying to yourself is, I'm going to get rid of my most soothing and relaxing things I do in my life. Good luck. Good luck. What's up, Julie? Julie says, I enjoy chocolate while watching TV at night. Hard to change that habit. Yeah. You may not have, see, that's what I mean. Like keep that habit. What you do is you eat a bit less chocolate. How can I make chocolate in my body too? Keep the chocolate, but eat less of it, eat higher quality chocolate, work on, getting it to a place where you can have your body and the chocolate too. And maybe you got to make different shifts in your other eating during the day. Did have broiled fish. Thank God. I read that real quick. I was like, boiled fish. That sounds awful. I wouldn't have said that, but for any of the people that like boiled fish, just ignore what I said. Did have broiled fish and spinach for dinner last night. Yeah, exactly. If you listen, I have chocolate every night. Practically. It's high quality chocolate. I have like 2 squares of it, but I eat chocolate almost every single night. At least my clean days. Now, the rest of my eating during the day is so clean. It don't matter if I have 2 pieces of chocolate. Do you understand? Like, again, dieters is like every little thing is life and death. You got to zoom out. How did I eat during the day? And then I'm really going to blow your mind. How did you eat during the week? So never mind the calories you ate during the day. How many calories did you eat this week? And now I'm really going to make you go crazy. How many calories did you eat over the month? So again, when we start to zoom out, look at the bigger picture, that's how we really approach this in a unique, different way than you've been doing as a dieter. So yeah. Pink Cloud says, so Jim, I just started intuitive eating and I lost 7 kilograms, but this is my second time. Where do I start so I can eat as a thin person on autopilot? I am new to your page. Yeah, Pink Clouds, great job. Hey, congratulations losing the weight. The thing with the intuitive eating thing is that you don't really have those intuitions. So, you're kind of, don't take me, maybe I'm wrong. Okay. So I'll just let you know that I don't know everything, but more often than not, what I see with intuitive eating is that you don't have those intuitions. You have the intuitions. And again, I don't know where you're at, but most people that try to do intuitive eating have overweight intuitions. So I get what you're saying about the intuitive eating, but you got to create intuitive thoughts. Then you can be an intuitive eater. I'm an intuitive eater now, and I still don't even trust myself. I still have to structure my eating. But anyways, if you want to get into my world, start off with the free stuff. Go to my bio, click the link, get the hypnosis session I give you. That's free. Watch the video I made for you. I think you'll like that. And read the emails I send you. You know what I mean? It'll give you a lot more kind of depth with what I'm talking about here. And it's all free. All right. What's up, Kent? Kent says nothing is more soothing and relaxing than Jim's hypnosis sessions. Game changer. Thank you, Kent. Yes, exactly. And that's back to my point that soothing and relaxing is a relative term, So you say, oh, soothing and eating is the most soothing and relaxing thing I have. Yeah, I get that. That's the problem. See, the answer is not to get rid of the eating. The answer is to find other things that are more soothing and relaxing. And there's lots of things that are more soothing and relaxing. My hypnosis session just being one of them, And so when you start to have a couple things that are more soothing and relaxing than food, now you're on the right path to live as a thin and healthy person. Hope that makes sense. Thanks for saying that, Ken. Yeah, those sessions are awesome. What's up, Baja? Yeah, the hypnosis sessions are awesome. And again, for all of you, I'm so excited because I've been mentioning this, but Program Yourself Thin is shifting up in the way that's structured. And I've broken off the hypnosis piece just as its own program. So for those of you that just want to listen to hypnosis and that's all, you'll have that ability to do. And so that page will be live in a day or two. And yeah, if you're interested in hypnosis and that program is awesome. So again, there's the mastery version I talk about a lot too. But I separated them because I realized some people just want to lose weight and not do, all that other work. Cool. You know what I mean? So that'll be there for you. And then if you're really serious though, and you really want to master your weight, the mastery program's there as well. Oh, okay. Ob says trying to sign up for your emails. Well, you're on TikTok. If you go to click up in the top left corner, my picture, and then go to my bio, there's a link there. Click that link and it'll bring you right to the page. And or go to my website, programyourselfthin.com. I'll give you so it's programyourselfthin.com/hypno, HYPNO, and that'll bring you there. So there's a couple ways you can get there. Campbell Toka says, oh my God, that comment hits the nail right in the head. So true in my case. I'm not sure which comment, but I'm glad. I'm focusing more on the wonderful, healthy foods I love than the unhealthy stuff I should avoid. Yeah, Julie. Yep, Julie. Always so proud of you, Julie. You really get it. Yeah, that's the key, right? And that's something dieters don't do. Dieters are obsessed with the unhealthy stuff that they're not supposed to eat. And, the real secret is to focus on the healthy things that make you feel the way you want to feel and be the person you want to be. There's a huge difference there. So great job. What's up, Joy? All right, got to get out of here. I got some stuff I got to do, but thanks so much. This was awesome questions as usual. You're all a bunch of smart, intelligent people, so it's a pleasure to be able to potentially help you move forward with your weight. Because when you have the right strategies, you can get the right results that you're looking for. Dieting is the wrong strategy. I will let you know that. So if you want to find the right strategy, click the link in my bio, get the hypnosis session, watch the video I made, read the emails I send. It'll kind of give you a whole new perspective on how to manage your weight, and all that stuff's free. All right, go check that out. If you like this here, this is actually a podcast too. I take the audio, put it up on the podcast. It's Program Yourself Thin. It's on all the platforms. You can go listen to it whenever you want. And I'm live here every day. This is a mission for me. So I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, usually around noon. And so if you want to get on here and ask any questions, pop on here, and I am happy to do my best to help you move forward and get the body, the health, the happiness, and become the person you want to be. All right. So thanks so much, everyone. Have a super day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.